In this video, I'm going to show you how to assemble IKEA's 4x2 Kallax shelving unit. So go ahead and lay your box flat. It's quite heavy, it weighs 74 pounds, so make sure it's in the room that you want the shelving unit to be in, or nearby, because it's really heavy to carry. It's 74 pounds. And then go ahead and open up the box. These flaps come up. Then go ahead and empty the contents of the box, stack everything neatly and organize it according to the different parts. So I have all my parts and pieces stacked according to the various shapes. 3 shelves and 4 partitions, and then a base and a top, and then the longest ones are the sides. I also have the box that it came in laid out flat because that's going to be my work surface, so I don't damage the floor or damage the shelving unit. Go ahead and open your parts and fastener bag and dump it into a container. Actually, these can stay here. And you need to open this one. Like so. Okay, for the first step, you're going to need 2 of the long black screws. And if you have a cordless screwdriver, this works great. You'll need the, and if you have the IKEA Fixa toolkit, you'll have the proper Allen head bit that goes with the screw. If you don't have that, then you can go ahead and use the Allen wrench that's supplied in the parts bag. So we're going to take one of the sides and stand it up on one of the edges, and so these holes are going to be on top. You want those up, and there's also a pair of holes at the bottom, but that's the side that needs to be positioned up. So here are the 2 holes, and 2 holes on the other side. And those are going to be positioned up. Like so. The top and bottom pieces are exactly the same, so grab one of the 2. And the smaller holes will be facing you. And it's going to go right here, so you're forming an L with these 2 pieces, the top and the side. And if you look at this side, you have the larger holes. That's where your screw is going to be inserted. So from another angle, this is where you're going to insert the screws on this side. Try to make sure the angle between the 2 pieces is roughly 90 degrees, so a right angle. Go ahead and insert the first screw. And I'm going to screw it in until I see the tip come through the hole. There, and then back it off a little bit. And now these come together. See, this is the second Kallax unit I've done, and this is actually quite difficult to get these to mate because you have to press on it while you're using your cordless screwdriver or your screwdriver. So I'm going to back it out a little bit and then press these two together. There we go, I got it that time. You don't want a gap in between the two pieces, that's why I was pressing. There we go. So that's the first screw. Now for the second screw in the bottom. Next, you're going to put in a partition. To do that, you're going to need 4 of the wooden pegs. So just grab 4 from the box and grab a partition, which is the square-shaped wooden piece. The partition has holes on either side of the unfinished edge. It's symmetrical, so you can use either side, and you're going to put your pegs into those holes on one side, 4 on one side. You may need a hammer to do this, so have one ready in case you need one. They are a little stiff, so use a hammer. So, since this is my second Kallax that I've assembled, I know some tricks how to do this a little bit better. The first time I tried using a hammer to tap this into place to get the pegs to go in to the top piece, and I almost damaged the shelf, or sorry, the partition. This is the partition. But it's particle board, and it doesn't take the hammer very well. So I found out another technique that you can use. So you're going to stand your top piece and side, you're going to stand it on end. Lay that flat so it doesn't fall over. So you're going to stand this up like so. And take your partition, whoa, a little bit slick. And take your partition and insert the pegs into the holes. And then wiggle it to get it to go in. I have a really slick floor, so to prevent me from killing myself, I'm going to tape this box to the floor. And I'm going to do the other end as well. There we go. Much better. Death prevention. Now go ahead and lay it down like you had it in the original position. Now grab a shelf. These are the partitions and these are the shelves, so grab one shelf. And you're going to be inserting 4 pegs into these 4 holes. It's symmetrical, so you can insert the 4 pegs on either end. Either end. Now you're going to turn the unit so it's on its side. Like so. Be gentle. Right below the end of the first partition there are 4 holes, and the 4 pegs go into those 4 holes. So go ahead and line those up with your pegs, and then carefully work in the shelf. Rock it very gently back and forth while applying pressure. Now go ahead and lay it back in its original position. Grab 4 more wooden pegs, and now you're going to fasten your shelf to your first partition. First step is to make sure your partition is lined up with the holes. So make sure that the middle of the partition is lined up with the middle of the first hole. Go ahead and tap it in slowly. And it works. It's lined up. And tap it in until it stops. Go ahead and do the next one. Tap it in until it stops. And it's hard to check whether the ones on the bottom are lined up. Yes. So now these steps are repeated until you get to the base of the unit. So the first step is insert your pegs, 4 pegs into the partition, then go ahead and attach the partition. Actually, you need to rotate it up first. Rotate it up on its top first, then install the partition. I won't actually do it, but I'll just demonstrate like this. And then the next step is the same. You're going to rotate it on its side and install the 4 pegs into the side. And then you're going to install your shelf. So it's those same steps every time. I'll go ahead and do this one more time so you have it, and then you can do the third one on your own. So rotate this up. Go ahead and install the partition after you have it lined up. Work it in slowly. And make sure you don't bend this to the side because it'll break the wooden pegs. If you do that, you're screwed because there are no extra wooden pegs. You'd have to place an order with IKEA for replacement parts. Now, go ahead and lay it back down. It's getting heavy. It's getting heavy. Grab another shelf and put 4 pegs into it, into one end. so. Place the shelf next to the partition, line up the holes with the pegs, and go ahead and wiggle that into place, like so. Now rotate it back down into the original position. Four more wooden pegs. Make sure it's lined up. Okay, I'll let you do the last one. So one more partition, one more shelf, then one more partition, and then you're on to the base. So this is where you should be now. You should have all three shelves in place and all four partitions in place. And now the next step is to, actually it's not the base yet, the base is the last piece. The opposite side, the other side that's not on yet. All right, there's one more step you have to do before you attach the side, and that is to put 4 pegs in that last partition. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now go ahead and lay it down in its original position. If you have it up, standing up like this, go ahead and lay it down. There's one detail you need to pay attention to. So there are 2 holes that need to be on top of the side that you're going to install next. So as you can see on this side that's already installed, you have these 2 holes there. It needs to be matching on the other side, so the 2 holes need to be on top. Go ahead and grab 12 wooden pegs. This should be the last of them. You're going to insert those into the shelves, the 3 shelves, so 4 pegs per each of the 3 shelves, and then you're going to put the other side on. They did actually give me an extra peg, but I didn't want to say anything until I actually got all the pegs in because I would have jinxed it. Now for the second side. And remember, those 2 holes on either end need to be on top. And just guide it into place. Line up the pegs with the holes. You may have to move the pieces a little bit to get it to give it a little slap to get it started so that it sticks, then move on to the next shelf. A little slap, and then the third shelf. Oops, now this one came out. This is not easy. So I think to finish it, I'm going to go ahead and rotate it. So I can see what's going on over here. There we go. That one's good. That one's good. So now I'm just going to work it in. Gentle taps on these 6 points where the wooden pegs are. That's it. For the side anyway. Now we're going to insert the final 6 screws, 2 in the top and then 4 in the bottom. Here's the bottom here. I'm going to do the top first. And again, this is where it gets a little tricky because you have to press these together. So I'm pressing it so that there's no gap between the pieces. No gap. I pressed it. And now to put the base in place. Work each side in slowly. That way you don't break the pegs. And finally the 4 screws. Remember to press these together so there's no gap. That's good. I can see there's a gap here. I'll have to turn this, I'm going to rotate it so it's the other side up. Now it's getting heavy. See, there's quite a substantial gap there. What is that? That means the base is actually going to be a bit curved, and that's not good. That's just the way it played out. So I think I'll use this as the top instead of the base. That's a bit odd. There we go. Now you can attach these felt pads as feet, depending on the orientation. If you're going to stand it up so it's high, then you'll just need 4. If you're going to lay it on its side and have 4 columns by 2 rows, then you'll need all 8. Because this is such a heavy piece of furniture, it's 74 pounds, you definitely want to consider attaching it to a wall permanently and securely. So I'm not going to demonstrate how that's done because I can't bolt into my walls in an apartment, but follow your directions on how to do that. It's pretty straightforward, not too complicated.